Hey guys, and welcome to what's probably going to be the first of potentially a couple episodes of kind of like a catch-up thing for the Coastal Grappling channel. So I'm calling this random Babble right now, but it might have an actual name in an episode or two. This is just mostly a kind of a catch-up vlog, just kind of talking about the things that have happened since the last video I posted. How crazy the world's been, and getting a few things off my chest, and talking about the plans for the channel once the world kind of starts to go back to the point where training is a thing again. So let's catch up for a little bit in this episode at least. So from the last video, and I'm not counting the live stream I did, just from the last actual produced video. Basically, from that video last year, and the podcast and stuff that were going on around the same time, I did that. And then I took a little bit of a break. I was, really focusing on jiu-jitsu a lot and wanting jiu-jitsu to kind of be my main focus. The end of last year, I was doing jiu-jitsu full-time for about a year. I took a year off of work. I quit my old job, took a year off, and near the end of last year, had to start job hunting again. Ended up getting a job at a local ISP as a retail sales associate. So started doing that part-time in December, and I'm still currently employed with them right now. So basically, began working for them, and was still doing jiu-jitsu 6 days a week, 2 times a day when I could. Basically, I worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 8 to 4, and then would go to the gym after that every day. And then the rest of the week, I would generally at least try to go in twice at the last 4 days of the week where I wasn't working. So, went from there. That was around Christmas time. Christmas came and went. Again, like the want for a podcast, the want for videos wasn't really there. I was kind of getting back into the swing of things, with a job for the first time in a year. Still trying to train as much as I could, teach as much as I could. And, I'd kind of pushed actually, looking back in retrospect now with a couple of months into the pandemic, for those wondering if you're watching this at a later date, I'm recording this on May 27th, 2020. So, being able to take a step back from jiu-jitsu and training and everything, and even work, we closed the retail location for a little while, so I've been out of work for 2 months now. Being able to take a step back from all of that and really kind of rediscover hobbies that had never really gone away, but had definitely kind of taken a back seat to jiu-jitsu, to grappling and martial arts over the years. So I think the main one was video games. I'm a giant gamer. Anyone who knows me at the gym, anyone who knows me in real life knows that. I say I'm a giant gamer, but really what it is, I'm a huge nerd, and I play video games, but I tend to only stick to one or two at a time. So for instance, since 2007, I have played World of Warcraft, and that's been my main game. And I talk about that a lot at the gym and to people I know. And really, really fun game. It's had its ups and downs, but recently I've kind of gotten in and out of it. On the latest expansion, playing casually. This pandemic has kind of brought me back into that a lot. I've been playing a lot more, watching a lot more anime. That's something that's a very big passion of mine, a very big hobby that I enjoy. And catching up with a bunch of anime, stuff like that. It's been a lot of fun. Other TV shows that I normally wouldn't have, the energy for. It sounds stupid, but a lot of nights when I got home from work in the gym, I kind of just wanted to catch up on news and go to bed after I eat. So never really gamed too much those days. Sorry, it's like 30 degrees in my room right now. I gotta keep hydrated. We're going through a small heat wave right now. So we did that, and then I competed in January. My goal for the year, actually, for the start of the year, was to compete local grappling competition in January, which I did. Or it might have been February, I can't remember. January, yeah. Take February off. There wasn't anything local. There wasn't anything close to the province that I was interested in. So I took February off, had my birthday and all that. Then the plan was March, April, May was going to be a tournament a month, with March being Submission Arts United tournament that was coming up here. April being a local tournament, and then kind of as a warm-up again, and then May being the Ontario Open, a huge tournament, bussing down from Nova Scotia to Ontario. That was the plan. It was going to be, take the team, have an awesome time at a really big tournament, one of the biggest tournaments in Canada, have a lot of fun. Unfortunately, that didn't end up happening because the pandemic happened. So COVID-19 happened. We were the last province in Canada to record a case. We have not been hit very hard at all, actually. Currently, as of the 27th of May, I believe we have 40 cases active currently. I could be slightly wrong on that. We've been averaging about 1 case a day at about 500 tests per day, with a population of, I believe, 140,000. I could be slightly wrong on that. So we've not been hit hard at all. Nonetheless, jiu-jitsu has not been a thing here since middle of March, so I haven't trained in 2 months. I have been working out at home. I'm very lucky. I still live at home for various reasons. One's financial, the other is I just genuinely enjoy my family. So, still living at home. We have a small home gym downstairs, so I've been able to continue lifting weights. In fact, I posted about this on Instagram. So when the pandemic happened, I was about 183 pounds, somewhere around there. As of yesterday, I was 197 pounds. So I've gained a little bit of body fat, but it's also been actually lifting weights 3 days a week. And that's something I've done is lift weights 3 days a week, and now I'm reintroducing running 4 to 5 days a week as well on top of that. So, cutting down to around 190, hopefully. So anyways, to continue on with the timeline, that got shotgunned. So we were actually preparing for the March 16th tournament that got canceled the day beforehand, because that was kind of the day that that weekend was kind of when the province went into shutdown. A lot of things closed. I believe I had 2 days of work left after that, and then we closed. It might have even been less. I think we might have even reopened that weekend. I can't remember, honestly. No, we didn't open after that. So it was the March 16th weekend, and that was it. Trained. I believe my last day of training was the 14th. I actually decided to take. I bowed out of the tournament before it was even canceled. I decided personally, I was reading a lot of the news. Stephen Kesting had just released that podcast at the time, and I decided that for me, it wasn't worth it. There was just way too many unknowns at that point. So I decided, you know what, it's better to be cautious. I will, I'm not going to train for me at the time, I didn't know what was going to happen. So I just decided, okay, I'm not going to train for a couple of weeks, and we'll see where we're at then. And then obviously 2 months later. So then a couple days later, our gym shut down anyways, and we've been, closed since. So like I said, weightlifting, I do go downstairs and do solo drills in the heavy bag, neon belly drills, stuff like that. I do pop in my gi and my belt every once in a while, doing that just for some sense of normalcy, for some sense of like, this is the thing I've done for over half a decade. This is the thing I'm pursuing as a career. It's been put on hold for now, but it is still my passion. It is still what I plan on doing. So, I want to present some sense of normalcy. And actually, really quickly, I'm going to touch on this. I'm really interested in starting up kind of a short series of gi reviews. I have a bunch of different Canadian brands of gis in my closet right now. Most of them I've used a decent bit as well for a long time. So I'd be interested. Parabellum, BC Kimonos, Prodigy are all sitting in my closet. It'd be interesting to do reviews for them. So if people are interested in that, let me know, and I'll be happy to do that. So that kind of brings us up to the pandemic. So, and the big question has been, this is kind of like the cliche question on every podcast, right? Like, the last thing I forgot to talk about. Mid last year at the same time, I really started to get into Dungeons and Dragons. So it's been, again, being a big nerd, it's been something I've been interested in for a long time. But I was always too nervous, too anxious to kind of ask people and be like, hey, do you want to, play Dungeons and Dragons? Do you want to play D&D? But I finally worked up the nerve and last year and started my own campaign. So much fun. And that lasted almost a year. We finished the campaign in April. We moved from about half in person, half online, with our players to fully online due to the pandemic. And that campaign ended. We just recently started up. We're 2 sessions in to the new campaign, where I'm actually a player. My dad's actually DMing because he used to DM in high school, so he's taken up the mantle, so I get a chance to play. I'm having a blast so far. I'm playing, for anyone else who plays who might be watching this, I'm playing a cleric. I'm playing a custom homebrew watery grave domain, so it's a really interesting kind of sailor take on clerics. So I'm having a lot of fun with that, and that's been kind of keeping me somewhat sane during this. But like I said, the big question, the question that everyone gets asked on a podcast is, how are you doing, right? Like, how are you coping with the pandemic? And for me, it's a mixed bag. Like, I am naturally an introverted person. I enjoy sitting at my computer all day and playing video games and watching anime and, reading about nerdy shit and being by myself. That is something, like, I genuinely don't get enough of generally. So for the first I would say for the first 3 weeks, first month, I was actually really enjoying it. It was nice to just do something that I hadn't done in a long, like, since I was like an early teen, mid-teenager, like 15. Of just kind of be a shut-in for a while. But after about a month, I'm still enjoying it, but after, once I hit about the month mark, it kind of became this, like, okay, like, these days are blending into each other now. I'm waking up not knowing what day of the week it is, kind of deal. So it's had its ups and downs. There's days where I feel great. I wake up, I go run, I lift weights, I feel awesome, I eat good food, I get some sun, enjoy life, and I'm, like, genuinely happy. Talk to the girlfriend, whatever. There's other days where I wake up and I'm just lethargic, and it weighs on you a little bit, and the anxiety of, when do we get to come back to the gym? Is there going to be a gym to come back to? If we do get to come back to the gym, what's it going to look like? What new protocols are going to be in place? When are tournaments coming back? Things like that. That can start to weigh on you a little bit. Luckily for me, I'm actually going to be working from home as of next week. So for me, it's going to be interesting. It's something a little different. I've never worked from home before. And on top of that, it's a slightly different role than I was doing at the retail location. But I am really excited because it is an opportunity for me to dive headfirst into something again that I just need that. I need that, just diving into something, learning something, and just spending my time every day actually doing something productive, making money. Canada has done a very, very good job. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, there's things that they have screwed up. I'm actually in the small percentage of Canadians that got kind of screwed over with CERB and all of that, where, I talk to people about this, and I make it very clear that I do not blame the government, because this is my fault. I decided to take last year off of work. That was a choice that I made last year, obviously not predicting a pandemic, but I made the choice to take the year off and just focus on jiu-jitsu, knowing I wasn't really going to have any income. I wasn't going to make money. And then this year, it came to that. So that is, that is that. But it'll be nice to have an income again. Just trying to see if there's anything else. I'm kind of doing this off the cuff. I'm, don't really care too much, but this is just kind of a stream of consciousness as of the title Random Babble is. It's just a fun kind of way for me to, I don't know, get my thoughts out. I know, a lot of my teammates, a lot of guys I know enjoyed the podcast. So hopefully this is something. I might start the podcast back up, but it's one of those things where it's a jiu-jitsu related podcast, and I mean, what is there to talk about right now? It would be an episode long of us being like, yeah, it sucks that jiu-jitsu isn't a thing, probably at least in this province, for 4 or 5 more months, and we can't train and we can't compete. Yeah, that sucks, and that would be the podcast, right? I might have some people on this specific thing, whatever this is going to turn into, just to talk about exactly that. How are you doing? How are you holding up? What things have you found to pass the time? For me, like I said, getting back into World of Warcraft, watching more anime, doing this apparently now, working out, being physically active still has been a huge part of keeping myself somewhat sane during this time. And again, it's not an easy thing, right? And I think anyone that quantifies this as an easy thing, they're either lying or they are much more introverted than I am, and I am quite introverted. But I definitely still have dreams about going to class and rolling with people and having fun, training and all that. So anyways, guys, we've been doing this for 17 minutes now, and I meant this to be a 10-minute video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm thinking of doing these once a week, kind of maybe the end of every week, just kind of checking in, picking a topic for the week. Maybe have some guests. Maybe this is a new podcast. Who knows? I'm leaving it out there. This is, for now it's going to be called Random Babble, and it might have a new name in the future. It might even have a new name by the time this gets uploaded later tonight. We'll see. Anyways, guys, this is Pat with Coastal Grappling. Hope everyone's hanging in there. I was going to say, if anyone needs a chat, if anyone just needs a soundboard, hit me up, in my DMs on Instagram, if you have me on Facebook, in YouTube comments, whatever, hit me up. I think the one key thing about this is we are all in this together, and it's important to remember that we're isolated, but everyone's going through the same shit. So it's important to remember. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed, and be seeing you again soon.